Imagine places in the world so forbidden and dangerous that one step on their ground would be a fatal mistake. Here we are with part 2 of the top 10 places where tourists are no longer welcome. Now, untold mysteries are revealed. From ancient booby-trapped tombs to islands much too hostile for any approach, some locations are forbidden and downright frightening. The shocking secrets these places hide are more than one could have ever imagined, so stay tuned. Number 10. Qing Shi Huang's Mausoleum, China. Few other archaeological sites in the world are as mysterious and unexcavated as that of Qing Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. Buried beneath a vast mausoleum complex at Xi'an, his supposed treasures are said to contain many other priceless treasures and palaces, and even booby traps with crossbows primed to fire at intruders. According to historical records, inside was a massive underground domain with rivers of mercury representing China's largest waterways to protect the Chinese emperor while he was to pass to the afterlife. The attraction remains unexplored since both practical and respectful reasons prohibit the tomb excavation at the behest of the Chinese government. Scientists worry that the technology of the day is not enough to preserve the artifacts, and in fact, their presence in the tomb might irreversibly damage the contents. Samples of soil taken from around the tomb still contain dangerously high levels of toxic mercury, presenting a severe health risk. In the meantime, the tomb is sealed, leaving its secrets for generations to come. Number 9. Surtsey Island, Iceland. Surtsey Island, situated off the southern coast of Iceland, is a natural laboratory formed by volcanic eruptions from 1963 to 1967. Since rising from the seas, it has been strictly off-limits to tourists, so that its pure environment is protected for science. The island provides a unique opportunity to study ecological succession, how life establishes itself on new land. From the formation of the very first plants and insects, this process of species colonization of this hostile volcanic landscape has been documented with great interest. Surtsey has been a nature reserve since 1965. Only very few people are allowed to visit, not to disrupt things too much by human presence. Introducing non-native species, polluting, or even slightly disturbing these fragile ecosystems could be influential for the entire island. Number 8. Heard Island, Australia. Heard Island, between Antarctica and Madagascar, is the remotest and least explored place on Earth. This island belongs politically to Australia and hosts 2 active volcanoes, with one being Mawson Peak, the highest mountain in Australia, apart from Antarctica. The landform on this island is given shape by volcanic activity, and it is an almost barren land made up of volcano debris and limestone. Heard Island is protected by the Australian government due to its uniqueness and fragility. The Australian government has set minimal levels of human activity on the island to preserve the pristine environment untouched by invasive species. Instead, it significantly contributes to global climate studies while hosting different forms of wildlife, such as seals, seabirds, and penguins. Tourism is prohibited since every human interference would be most unwelcome in this subantarctic ecosystem. Number 7. Pravčická Brána, Czech Republic. Pravčická Brána is a monumental natural sandstone arch towering over the stunning landscape of the Bohemian Switzerland National Park in the Czech Republic. Although access to the arch was previously allowed and there were no restrictions regarding this matter, in 1982, the fear of falling rocks and erosion made the geologists say that the arch, consisting of a highly delicate structure created over millions of years, is increasingly in danger, and total collapse is only a matter of time. To preserve this natural wonder, one has not been allowed to walk on top of the arch since 1982. There are several well-placed viewpoints from which one can view it. The beauty of the Pravčická Brána is so dramatic. Despite this restriction, many visitors continue coming and seeing it, charmed by the surroundings of the nice landscape. There are several tourist paths for walking with nice views and a chance to visit the nearby gorges and forests. Yet the restrictions not only deter some visitors, but also at the same time actually protect this fragile landmark for future generations, making it one of those must-go places for nature lovers who are willing to respect preservation efforts. Number 6. North Brother Island, USA. North Brother Island in the East River of New York City has a haunted history as an isolation hospital and is now entirely closed to the public. Developed in the 19th century, the island housed Riverside Hospital, which treated various contagious diseases such as smallpox and tuberculosis. The most famous resident was Typhoid Mary, who was the first asymptomatic carrier of typhoid fever ever detected in the United States. Deemed abandoned in 1963, nature finally established itself with crumbling buildings blanketed under a thick veneer of vegetation. Today, North Brother Island is a protected bird sanctuary, with many herons and other birds now using the island as a nesting ground. Tourists have yet to have an opportunity to visit this site because of safety concerns and the peril of decayed structures and overgrown terrain with collapsed roofs. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more intriguing places to uncover, and you won't want to miss out. Number 5. Bhutan. Bhutan enforces high-value, low-impact tourism, whereby visitors have to pre-arrange at least a prepaid itinerary covering accommodation, food, and transportation. This is one way to conserve cultural heritage, including preserving the environment from the impact of tourism. The visits are made through government-approved tour operators. Hence, every tourist would pay between $200 to $400 every night per person during low or peak seasons, respectively. Furthermore, all electronic gadgets, like cameras and laptops, will be declared upon arrival and checked again upon exit. According to Bhutan's very well-structured visa policy, pre-booked accommodation and airline tickets must be arranged ahead of time, making spontaneous travel even harder. Although undertaken in support of preserving Bhutan's unique landscapes and culture, these often become very intimidating for travelers not used to so much rigidity in their travels. Number 4. Ise Grand Shrine, Japan. Located in Mie Prefecture, Japan, the Ise Grand Shrine is the country's most sacred Shinto shrine. It was dedicated to the sun goddess Amaterasu and was thus closely related to the Japanese imperial house. No one but the royal family and a few presiding priests were allowed into its innermost sanctums. The most peculiar feature of the shrine is that buildings are abandoned and taken down every 20 years. This ceremony, which they call Shikinen Sengu, symbolizes the Shintoist belief in the pattern of dying and being born again. It has, however, been funded by the Japanese government. While millions of visitors make pilgrimages to the outer areas of the shrine, the inner sanctum remains out of bounds to preserve its holiness. Japan is cracking down on over-tourism in various ways, so please plan and book activities well in advance of your trip to avoid being disappointed. Number 3. North Sentinel Island, India. North Sentinel Island is part of India's Andaman and Nicobar archipelago, home to the Sentinelese, one of the last uncontacted tribes on Earth. The island has been strictly closed to all outsiders, protecting both the tribe and their isolation, which has continued for an estimated 60,000 years or so. Sentinelese have always been hostile toward visitors, with reported cases showing them responding violently to protect their territory. In 2006, 2 fishermen who had mistakenly landed on the island were killed, and in 2018, so was an American missionary. The Indian government has implemented a no-contact policy prohibiting anyone from approaching within 3 miles of the island. The ban is extremely important to save visitors and avoid introducing diseases to the Sentinelese, who have no immunity. Number 2. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The country has strict entry regulations and cultural rules, making Saudi Arabia tough for many tourists. It disallows entry to visitors from Qatar and Israel, while a stamp on a passport from Israel or even nearby Jordan and Egypt can result in denial of entry to the country. Tourists from many countries need a visa, and applications must be sponsored by a group or citizen within Saudi Arabia. This, together with the strict execution of Sharia law, pegs things to operate under very tight regulations. Currently, while Saudi Arabia has relaxed some of its rules, the ban on women traveling alone and an end to the requirement for them to dress fully covered, the laws are still very conservative. Therefore, female visitors should dress exceptionally modestly, at least cover their shoulders and knees, and exercise high caution when taking pictures in public. Taking photos of any religious nature is completely forbidden. It is strictly prohibited to display public affection, drink alcohol, and do other activities that are forbidden by Islamic law. Number 1. Somalia. Somalia remains a deeply troubled country that's anything but hospitable to tourism. The threat of terrorism overshadows everywhere, mainly through Al-Shabaab, with frequent attacks against public places, hotels, restaurants, and even airports. Kidnapping is also of grave concern to foreigners, as is frequently the case with terrorist groups demanding ransom. The country lacks robust infrastructure. Therefore, no reliable medical facilities are available, and consular support is severely limited. Besides the security threats, the logistics of travel to Somalia are daunting. A visa is required in advance, typically in neighboring Kenya, since on-arrival visas are hard to get. Finances are a challenge as there are few ATMs and credit cards are rarely used. At this time, it is a no-go destination. Thanks for watching. Which of these forbidden places interested you the most? Let us know in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more cool content. We'd really like to hear what you think, so keep talking.